Ubisoft has no idea how to make good products anymore. They don't know where gamers are. They don't know how to make products that people actually want to show up and support. And now, of course, they finally released Star Wars Outlaws on Steam and it is getting obliterated. I have a few different things to show off, but before I get into the topic, if you enjoy the content I create, check out the links in the description, join the community in my live streams, and consider supporting through Patreon or YouTube memberships. Now, I didn't ever really expect Star Wars Outlaws PC release to go amazing because people already have forgotten about this game. They were very disappointed when it launched on console. It's not like people are going to buy a second copy, and for the few people who were mildly interested in this game, they are not going to buy it on PC at full price when they can go and buy it on console for a discount because it is already on sale. And now that it's finally released on Steam, it's getting wrecked. So it had only just launched, right? You would think this would be when there would be the most amount of people showing up to support it. They purchased it. They're excited to finally get a chance to play it. They've been waiting months to get in game. And well, as of 20 minutes ago, it hit its all-time peak, and it's only at 1,444. And this is day 2, so maybe going into the weekend, it will get slightly higher. But when your peak so far is not even 1,500 players, you can't expect this to shoot up to 20 or 30,000 over the weekend, meaning this is another flop for Ubisoft this year. I played Star Wars Outlaws on the channel. I was not a fan. I was initially hopeful. I thought it might have been at least an okay experience. Sure, I didn't ever expect it to be as good as Jedi Fallen Order or Jedi Survivor, but it did not even come close in any way, shape, or form. Those games' quality levels are significantly higher. The gameplay is much better. The world is much richer. The characters actually have personality. And of course, it was hilarious when they unveiled Kay Vess's face for the first time because it was such in the slap in the face to the lead actress, Humberly Gonzalez. She's a very beautiful woman, and instead of trying to put her face in this game, they basically took an image of her and distorted it, and it looks nothing like her when you actually get into the game. If I was an actress and this was happening to me, same thing just happened with Anya Carlotta, I would not be a happy camper. I would be pretty furious that this is what they decided to do, and why is it that I'm getting picked for a game where they're putting in the least amount of effort? And they thought that this was going to be their big holiday game because Skull and Bones failed at the beginning of the year. X-Defiant is free to play, so it's not like they're selling copies of that. And then Assassin's Creed Shadows got delayed until February 2025. So they were banking on Outlaws making them a boatload of cash, and it just does not seem like that's happened. According to rumors, it at this point in time has sold about 2 million copies months after release, when Star Wars Jedi Survivor and Fallen Order, I understand it's over several years, but they've sold upwards of 15 million copies combined. You would have thought that Outlaws would have hit 5, 6, maybe even 7 million because it did have the hype of those other games, but nobody wants some cringeworthy smuggler game where you're stealthing around. The stealthing is terrible. The AI is awful in this game. And again, it's visually very unappealing. There's really nothing in this title that I could recommend you play it for. It does nothing better than other games, even just in the Star Wars universe. Hell, Knights of the Old Republic is one of my favorite games of all time, and that's 100 times better than this pile of slop, and gamers are not taking it. Gamers are no longer putting up with companies like Ubisoft pumping out mediocre product after mediocre product. Keep in mind, just a few weeks ago, Yves Guillemot, the CEO of Ubisoft, said it's our fault this game did terribly when they announced that Star Wars Outlaws underperformed their sales expectations. He said it's because gamers have high expectations, when of course we do. When you constantly are trying to churn out games this year, they're were supposed to be 4 major ones. There ended up only being 3, and that's never mind remakes and remasters. But when you are churning out products and they are mediocre and you're expecting people to spend $70 to $130 depending on the edition, yes, our expectations are going to be a little high because there are so many video games that release every day, every week, every month, every single year. There are thousands, millions of better games than this, and this is why people are not buying slop anymore. If we see something that looks bad, we are no longer pre-ordering, we're no longer blindly supporting because Ubisoft 20 years ago made decent games. That's just not the state of the industry anymore, and these companies are going to have to realize that. And currently, they are getting raked across the coals by gamers. They're pointing and laughing, saying Star Wars Outlaws surpassed Concord's peak players on Steam, which really wasn't that hard to do. Wow, they will now be the DEI developer for Concord 2. Such massive success. I would have been surprised if it didn't. That is the power of a beloved franchise, of course, not by much, since most people that were going to buy it did over the other platforms. I am glad that I'm a fan of sci-fi and not a fan of a specific franchise. I used to be a massive Star Wars fan, and then of course Disney purchased Lucasfilm. They really had no idea what Star Wars fans actually wanted. We had the terrible sequel trilogy. We've had tons of spin-offs that are not exciting. Like, we're just not talking about high quality products anymore. And I do think that another major reason why this game was a failure is because so many Star Wars fans are no longer showing up to support these video games and the movies and TV shows. You have to convince us it is worth our time to sit down and watch a show or buy one of these video games. And the trust in the Star Wars brand is at an all-time low. No way. They surpassed the legend Concord. People are having a great time because ultimately what it is a race to the bottom. These are not good numbers in any way, shape, or form for a company the size of Ubisoft or a company the size of Sony. In the case of Concord, if they just started listening to gamers, they could make money again, but they don't. They're doing what they feel like, and they are now paying the price. So I will be keeping my eye on this to see what the user scores are over the next couple of days. As of right now, there aren't any up because platforms require a certain amount of time to pass, and there's only 100 scores on Steam, and it's sitting at positive, so maybe it will not end up changing very much. But as of right now, there's really not enough in terms of reviews to go off of, though it's getting absolutely destroyed in player numbers because virtually nobody showed up to purchase it. But that's all that I really had to discuss in this video. Let everyone know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this, give it a like, and if you didn't, give it a dislike. I appreciate your support either way, but I'll talk to you all again in the next video really soon.